Well, hello, 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 everybody. Much love to you all. May God bless you all. We have a lot of signs, a lot of things to be showing today, some breaking news. And then, like I said, Wednesday through Friday, there will be no more videos on the channel until Saturday. So, Saturday, the 29th, join us for two separate events. But one to be in the noonish hour, and the other one to be about 8 p.m. as we're going to SatanCon in the Satanic Temple in Boston. I would love to see a bunch of you, even if it's just for 3 minutes, to come into the chat and to just have the presence of like minded individuals fellowshipping together and allowing the spirit to just people have to have their eyes open to what's going on in this nation and in this world. But today we're going to talk about um, many things that's happening in Israel, and also a big, powerful earthquake that had recently happened. A powerful 7.1 earthquake strikes off Indonesia's Sumatra Islands, briefly triggers tsunami warnings. This is by Singapore, of course, as you see. They were hit by a pretty huge, I don't know what the aftershocks were yet, but the aftershocks, they're saying about 5.8. It's pretty heavy aftershock. This is pretty predominant earthquake. A 7.1 is big. Tsunami warnings, of course, came out. We know that scripture tells us in Matthew 24 that there will be earthquakes in diverse places, and we've been having a lot of them. The biggest amount of them have been in Turkey and Syria. At the beginning of this year, there was a big swarm of them, thousands upon thousands. Um, Earthquakes have kind of been diminished a little bit since, but there's still been some big, powerful ones that have struck going up. Now, before we get into Israel, a little bit about Satan Con. These links being in script, not going to read it from this, but there's ex Satanists and ex witches that are reacting to Satan Con, saying the enemy is waging an all out war right in front of our faces. And boy, are they ever. They're pushing this agenda. They're pretty much cramming it down our throats by this point. This is why we could really use a lot of you who cannot be in person to be online to help spread the news to people that still might be blinded and not and some of them that say they believe in Christ, but they just not seeing the wicked that is happening. People have got to see the wicked that's happening in this world. Per the book of Ephesians 5, we are to expose the darkness of this world, like how we expose a cockroach to a light when we flip it on. It's time to let our light so shine that they may see the good works that works through us through our heavenly Father, my friends. Of course, paraphrasing Matthew 5:16. But just yesterday, we were talking about how the Jews were banned from the Temple Mount during the holy month of Ramadan. And now the Arabs desecrate the site, destroying a bunch of things. And we're going to go through this. Now we're getting reports of what had happened through this time. Lots of trash laying around. They really desecrated this place. On Sunday, the Jews returned to their holiest site after a 12-day ban by the Israeli government. And I had said this wasn't good that they banned them from coming to this during the Muslim month of Ramadan, because I haven't seen the Muslims being banned from going at any Jewish holiday. So we're seeing here, uh, there's video of much vandalizing that was going on. So really the gist of what I see here is it was supposed to be, worshiping. I'm not saying not all of them didn't. Many of them probably did worship, but at the same time, it was a ploy just for some people to come in and to ransack um, the area. See, I want to pause. Why these people are worshiping, you have these people doing this. It's just pathetic, what people are doing. It says there was garbage everywhere, he said. And we also saw some of the ancient stone remnants that were broken and used to block pathways used by the Jews, Nehemiah said. This is a resident that lives in the area after he'd visited the site after the closure. So, I mean, they totally desecrated everything around here, just trying to block the paths of them to even to come up here and do it. The roof beams were dismantled and stored in the courtyard um, after an earthquake that happened in 1927. In 1970, the beams were inspected by a team and determined that most of them were cedar from Lebanon and some are cypress trees. So, I mean, you get the gist. This is pretty old, ancient stuff. And we see through the Bible, a lot of things were built from the cedars of Lebanon and cypress trees. Um, so, Nehemiah went on to continue the beams have always been there, but lately they have been neglected and abused, and there are clearly fewer of them. So hard telling what was done with these, but during the month of Ramadan, Palestinian violence increased with much being focused on the Temple Mount. After Israel and Jordan agreed to allow Muslims to stay overnight at the mosque on April 11th to observe their holiday, a Muslim practice involved multi day prayer, Hamas took the opportunity and called on Arabs to riot the site. So, like I said, some of them were there doing what they were literally going there to do. But just like through the earthquakes that happened in Turkey and Syria, it was a vantage point for Iran to say, hey, we're sending humanitarian aid, but really we're sending guns and ammo and rockets. So, but the Galilean threats, the Galilean Heights, we've been continuing to talk about this. This is continuing. This was yesterday we talked about, but now it's been updated. So there's a little bit more to talk about from what we talked about yesterday. Um, it says that Iran also boasts of using unseen hands to move weapons to the West Bank. We're really seeing the things amp up over here, and they're going to continue. Iran's goal is to keep Israel on the defensive and force the conflict into Israel's backyard. And they're pretty much doing that. And we know that Israel said we are going to increase our attacks on Syria. Now, look, it said that essentially negating Israel's advantages in the air and at sea and in other dominions or domains where Israel's high tech can defend Iran more easily. In essence, the new strategy seeks to shift the conflict called the campaign between the wars, such that Iran is no longer suffering challenges to its entrenchment in Syria, but rather moving its pawns closer to Israel. And they are moving their pawns a lot closer to Israel. It says, while this trend has existed for years since the Syrian regime returned to the Galilean border in 2018, it was only displayed this week and last week as Israeli artillery respond to Iranian-backed threats near the Galilean. Um, in in addition, social media accounts in Syria showed images of how or of what they said were leaflets that we showed yesterday that they were warning people to stay distant from Hezbollah. Here is a picture back in January 29th, 2023 of a border incident at the fence that was going on. Um, so are the threats at Goliad a new normal? There was always another threat in April when Iran flew a few drones from Syria over the Golan and it was brought down. But back in the fall of 2017, reports said that Russia had rejected demands to encourage the Syrian regime to keep Iran and Iran backed units over 60 kilometers from the border when the regime returned to the sea. This is important because Russia was sending military police to the area at that time. Now, it says the Syrian rebels were reconciling with the regime. The U.S. also has garrison at Tanaf which is around 260 kilometers from the border. This garrison has an exclusion zone of 55 kilometers around it. So they're saying that the suggestion of a zone of non-Iranian entrenchment near the Golan. However, Iran does not want that. Iran wants to occupy it. They want to take out Israel. They want everything bad to happen to them. Iran responded with drone incident in early April and followed up with a unity of front campaign over Passover, and now apparent threats near the Golan led by Iranian commander in the Syrian regime 4th Division, a key Hezbollah intelligence officer. So, like I said, things are continuing. It says during the Syrian civil war, there were often threats to the Golan relative quite appeared to increase after 2018. Now, here in 2023, the tensions appear to be building again, and they appear to be getting bigger than they were then. Now, violent clashes erupted between police and Palestinians at the mosque. This was published back on April 4th, back when a lot of the protests were happening. It's been updated again today with more pictures and just more news and about more of the damage that had happened. The Palestinian and police clashed at the mosque as dozens of Palestinians barricaded themselves in the mosque at the ahead of the eve of Passover. Remember, we had watched a lot of video here. This was on April 4th where they had did this. I have a video where we had already showed a lot of these videos. But the reason why I was bringing this back up is that this has a lot to do with the one that we just showed about the desecration. That's why it's been updated here because, just a little reminder, Hamas had warned about the Paschal sacrifice attempts. As these things continued to amplify up, the reason why it was updated is because now we've seen some of the outcome of what had happened during these times as protest and just desecration of the temple had happened. Now, remember, I've been keeping my ears and eyes on Syria, telling you guys of the things that have been going on. Well, hundreds are protesting against Syria's al-Assad. Of course, a lot of civil war has been going on over there for a while. There's been a lot of protests going on over there. They are demanding that Bashar al-Assad be prosecuted and the release of all detainees and return of displaced Syrians to their home. These people have been under the regime of al-Assad for quite some time, and it has not been pretty, the things he's been doing to his own country. The Lord had me tell you all, keep your eyes on Syria, and it has been just nonstop. There has been so much that's been going on with Syria. January 1st on, they've been getting struck. They've been getting struck by their own government for years. The earthquakes, hundreds of people have been taken to the streets of several cities in northwestern Syria to protest against warming ties between the Arab countries and President Bashar al-Assad. The biggest demonstration took place on Sunday. A stronghold of forces opposed to al-Assad, while smaller groups gathered in Azaz, a refuge for Syrians who fled from other parts of the country amid the 12-year war that's been going on there. Like I said, it's been going on for a while over here, but here's some of the
اللي عم يطبع مع عصابة الأسد عم يطبع مع عصابة كبتاجون مارقة. اللي عم يطبع مع عصابة الأسد عم يطبع مع ميليشيا فاغنر مجرمة. اللي عم يطبع مع عصابة الأسد عم يقتلنا بالكيماوي والبراميل. واللي راح يدعم هذا الشعب يسجل اسمه في صفحة الفخر. عاشت سوريا حرة أبوية ويسقط الأسد ويطير الخامنئي وحي الله الأحرار. بوجود بشار الاسد في سوريا؟ هل تقبلون بوجود هذا المجرم في سوريا؟ هل تقبلون التطبيع مع نظام اسد؟ هل تقبلون خيانه الدول العربيه؟ هل تقبلون خيانه وتطبيع مع الاسد؟ هل تقبلون ان يوضع الاسد في مزامن التاريخ؟ هل تقبلون ان يوضع كل من طبع مع الاسد الى مزامن التاريخ؟
As we see, they're trying to stand up against the tyranny that's happening over here. A lot of them aren't happy with the things that are going on. We see some pictures of some of the protests going on out here. There's not a lot of people, if you want to be honest, that are out here because they've been under a dictatorship for quite some time. That they're getting bombed by this guy's military on a constant, guys. So I mean, Syria. I told you on December 31st, the Lord said, "Keep your eyes on Syria." The Hebrew word 2023 was a mountain in Syria, and I tell you, there's a mountain of things happening in Syria. They've been in the news left and right. I This link will be in the description. I'm not going to go through. It's a really long one, but I just want to bring up again about the digital currency. It is coming. A lot of people have had their eyes and ears on this. There is a lot that's going to happen with this. A lot of people are starting to roll out things and as you can tell, some things you've seen here, why I'm not really going to talk about. It's really long. The algorithm really flags some of the things that are in here. As you can tell, it's a pretty long report, but a good one nevertheless. Now, only reason I'm bringing this up is NASA is saying that there's going to be an asteroid the size of 48 eggplants to pass the Earth Tuesday. This is a day before the 75th Independence Day of Israel that we talked about yesterday. Um, so this is huge because one of these days we're going to see potentially an asteroid hit the ground. Maybe in our lifetime or not. I don't know. But the asteroid, the size of 48 eggplants, is set to pass the Earth today, just ahead of the Israeli Independence Day. This is pretty big because their Independence Day is coming. Here's a picture of just 5 eggplants. So take 43 more. Not, huge, but huge nevertheless. It's going to be big. They're saying what other asteroids are set to pass by soon. These are a few other that are set to pass by. One of them they're saying is estimated in diameter 47 meters. Another one they're saying is in diameter 48 meters. Another one they're saying is in diameter 31 meters, or about the size of Louis Vuitton speed bags, 25 of them. I don't know what a Louis Vuitton bag, the size of it, but um, kind of funny they put it. And this one they're saying is about the size of 50 large cardboard boxes. Um, it wasn't too long ago they had one fly over the sky in Israel just a couple weeks ago. So, you know, I feel this is predominant because if it is true, it's going to happen. It's on the Independence Day of it. We're seeing everything that's happening in Israel already. And I mean, the signs are here of everything that's going on. The signs are here. It's time to get our lives right with Jesus Christ. It's time to pray more, study more, fellowship more, witness more. We need to witness to every single. There was a commandment by Jesus to go to everyone in the world and to preach the gospel to them. This is something we got to do. So much love to you all. May God bless you all. I'll send you guys an update on the community tab when I arrive at SatanCon, or when I arrive at Boston, because I'm not going to be at SatanCon right off the bat. But we're going to be heading out tomorrow. I got to finish up a few last things here at home, like get my grass cut and all that before we go, so I don't come back to like 20-foot tall grass. So much love to you all. Keep your heads up. I'm going to miss you all. Normally I do a video every day. I'm going to miss you all for the next few days. When we come back, we're going to be starting strong, getting into the 7 churches of Revelation study before we get into the wordplay study. We'll be continuing when I get back next week with the book of Matthew, and I will not be live on Sunday. Pastor Craig will be at our church, but like I said, he doesn't have access to the YouTube. So I our preaching will be at SatanCon. So a lot of you that watch Sunday sermon, uh, be expecting that on Saturday now at SatanCon as we expose the darkness of this world by the light of the gospel of Jesus Christ. Much love to you all.